single crack on a silent frozen lake shattered the stillness of an old man's winter morning. When Mr. Harris followed the faint, desperate cry beneath the ice, he didn't just find a trapped bear cub, he found the friend who would change everything. One heartbeat later, the ice shattered beneath his boots, and 2 lives hung by the same rope. What followed was a winter of oatmeal breakfasts, fireside snores, and a goodbye that echoed long after footprints melted. But the story doesn't end at the forest edge. It begins again every dawn when fresh fish appear on the porch and a grown bear stands guard in the shadows. Press play to witness how a lonely ranger and a lost cub rewrote the laws of the wild. Without ever speaking a word. Mr. Harris was an old man who lived alone in a tiny wooden cabin beside a frozen lake. He had stopped work after long years as a warden in a park close to British Columbia. Winter dawn would stroll along the edge of the Lacato, breathe clear air on day when the snow was pure white, heard a weak cry rising from the lake middle, stepped close and was stunned to see a bear cub stuck under the cold ice. It was shaking its front paws, scraping the ice string to climb out of the hole, but could not. Mr. Harris looked round. There was nobody else and knew he must move fast. The ice was quite thin. He could not walk direct, so he had to inch forward. Hurried back home, fetched a rope, a long pole, and an old oar to save the cube. Again on the lake bank began the risky walk over the brittle ice. Mr. Harris tied the rope round a trunk and gently slid across the ice, balancing on the oar. The bear cub stared at him, its eyes full of tears, its body chilled and spent. The sound of the ice splitting made him shake. He kept moving as he neared. He used a hook to tug the bear cub's paw out of the ice gap. Cub tried to grip the trunk, its claws softly scraping his mitts. Ice beneath his boots, then split as sea water rushing onto the ice, token a life or death second used all his power to haul the bear cub free. The bear cub lay still, wet and shivering from the freeze. Mr. Harris took off his jacket round the cub's body for Heathen. He lifted the bear cub in his arms, slowly pulling himself back to land. Sharp wind screamed, his arms were numb, yet he did not dare pause. When he reached home, he lit a big fire, laid the bear cub on the rug near the hearth. Warmth slowly spread and he began to softly rub the cub's shaking limbs, named it Frost because its coat was caked with snow, and he found that the cub was still afraid its eyes now and then glancing at him warily. Harris gently gave it warm milk with a tiny spoon and a fur-drying cloth, made a small spot in the living room, placed a cloth and a soft cushion for Frost to rest each day. He cooked oats porridge mixed with a bit honey to feed the burr. Frost began to walk round the house sometimes, rubbing its head against his palm. Harris taught it to know the calls of birds, the wind, and even the sound of odd steps. Frost grew more and more playful, climbing on the seat, teasing his old leather boots. Each night he sat reading a book. Frost lay with his head on his knee and sleeping deeply. A lonely old man and orphan bear soon became close friends, knew that one day they must part, but still wanted to give it the best. Winter passed slowly, warmly in the log shack in the heart of the woods. As the snow began to melt, Mr. Harris realized that it was time to guide Frost back to the wild. Cub was fit enough limbing trunks and digging with natural ease, though hard. So Ray packed his kit and led Frost back to the woods near the lake. They set a small camp at the forest edge, leaving food and cloth with known smells. Harris hoped that Frost's mother would still be near and could send her. They waited for 3 days amid the spring breeze and the rustle of leaves in the deep woods. Frost now and then growled gently as if calling someone far away. In the afternoon of the 3rd day, a sound replied from the depths of the woods. A large male bear stepped from the shadows of the trunks, moving carefully. Frost stood up, let out a soft cry, and ran to the birth. Mother bear sniffed round Frost, then held him tight with her front limbs. Harris stepped back, his eyes wet, not wanting to scare the mother and cub. Frost turned, took a few steps to him, and licked his hand one last time. If Mother bear looked at Harris from afar, her eyes calm as a quiet thanks. There was no roar, no threat, just shared knowing between lives. Frost and his mother slowly turned their heads, vanishing into the depths of the woods. As if they had never gone, Mr. Harris stood still for hours, staring into the empty spaces. Heart full of feeling, his heart felt empty, knew he had done the right thing for Frost, went home with cold hands, but his heart was as warm as a glowing stove that night. He wrote in his diary, Frost has gone home and I am alone. On dawn in early spring he opened the door to find a heap of fresh fish in the porch steps. Next to it was a log full of honey and a few bear paw marks in the soft mud. Harris was amazed, thinking it might be a gift from the burst living in the woods, but the next day there was another gift, wild fungi and sweet honeycomb band. So for a whole week, the gift changed each day. On dusk heard a sound at the door and crept to look in the pale moonlight. He saw Frost fully grown standing with his mother at the forest edge. Frost looked at him, gave a low sound, then slowly turned away. Harris just smiled. Did not walk closer like a quiet pack. The next day he set a small stake near the door, leaving a few red apple skiffs from the woods. Kept coming off in fish fungahoni and some half-eaten fruit skins. A neighbor asked him if he kept a barrand. He simply replied, "No, I have a friend," though he could not speak. New Frost still recalled the person who had saved his life. Harris began to write down the Toledo mail to the local park office. He hoped that one day the tale of this odd friendship would be known to many people. Harris planted a small maple sapling at the place where Frost was Savedas, a sign of kindness. Each spring he left a few apples under the tree as a quiet hello. Sometimes he still saw the shape of the bear appear in the distance of the woods, standing gazing at the porch. That bond between man and bear did not need words, just a true heart, and that was the best thing that winter left in an old man's life. Dear friend, thank you for taking the time to watch our tally. If you find it moving, do not forget to like and follow the channel so you do not miss the next clips.